Man, I'm kind of bored. Same. Well, APNX did just send out their V1 PC case. You want to take a look at it with me? Let's do it. Let's go. So you said this case was made by APNX? I've never heard of them. Yep, APNX stands for Advanced Performance Nexus, and they have a few cases on the market. This one right here is the V1, and I'm actually really excited to build in this case. I actually really like the design of this case. Let's give them an overview of the exterior. So the V1 is a really interesting case, mainly due to this 45-degree angle on the side right here, because our side fans are going to sit right here, and they're going to push air directly into the case, straight into the GPU. And then when you look at it from the front, we've got this really unique look, and I absolutely love this wood slat pattern. We've got tempered glass on the front, we've got tempered glass on the side. Then here is the top of the case. We've got ventilation right here, which kind of follows the flow of airflow for the side fans, which looks really cool. Our top fans are going to sit right here. Our I/O consists of a combo audio jack. We've got two USB-A ports, a USB-C. We've got the power button, and then we've also got this little button right here, which you can use to configure ARGB lighting. Here is the back panel, and we've got ventilation on the top because our power supply is actually going to sit right here so it can get a lot of fresh air. Here is the rear of the case. We've got ventilation for our rear fan. We've got our PCIe slot covers. We've got our motherboard cavity and the power supply cavity. And there's a gap on the bottom so we can get fresh air into the system. But overall, just a really cool looking case, and it's available in 6 different color patterns. Let's take off all the panels and go over the interior. So the V1 will support up to ATX motherboards, and you can actually place the motherboard in 2 different positions. So right now it's sitting in its default position, which is the lowest position. So if you want to run like a push-pull setup at the top, you have plenty of room, but you can actually move all of these standoffs up to the top part, and your motherboard will actually sit higher. So if you're running like a radiator setup at the bottom, you'll have plenty of room between the radiator fans and the GPU. And what's really cool, if you look at the back, you have this little APNX logo with this little like bracket. So when it's in the default position, the motherboard sits right here. But what you can do is you can take this out, and I probably won't be able to do this with one hand. Let's see how I do. So you position it right here, and then when it's positioned at the bottom, the motherboard will sit right here. So I thought that was a really cool little attention to detail. So in the default position, it sits right here, and then when the motherboard's in the highest position, it sits right here. So that's a cool little thing that they thought of, and I just lost the bolt for that. I'll have to find that later. So we've got 3 dust filters in this thing. We've got 1 at the bottom, and they're all removable. And doing this one-handed is probably gonna be hard, but there's the bottom one. Here is the side panel, and then it's got a removable dust filter here. And let me reach down to grab this, but there's a dust filter on the back panel for like the PSU. So a lot of ways to keep this clean. So let's talk about fan support. So this is the bottom bracket, and you can fit up to a 360 millimeter radiator, 3 120 millimeter fans, or 2 140 millimeter fans. And the same exact thing for the top. And then here is the side bracket, and this one's really interesting. So you can fit up to a 360 millimeter radiator, 3 120 millimeter fans, 2 140 millimeter fans, and if you remove this piece right here and the piece on the other side, you can actually fit 160 millimeter fans, which is really cool. So all the brackets come off and you can mount all your fans on them, and it makes it really easy. And then we've got a built-in GPU sag bracket down here, which is fully adjustable. So you can loosen this thumb screw and you can position it this way. So let's just say your card is actually shorter. You can position it that way so it's supported, or if it's a big 3-fan card, you can position it over here. You can actually put the screw in this location right here, so it actually comes out even further depending on your graphics card. And then we've got 2 thumb screws down right here that you can adjust the height for it. And then I also forgot to mention that you can fit a 120 millimeter fan on the rear. And we've got all of our grommets right here for cable management. I actually really like these, especially the bottom, because like your HD audio and your front panel connector will come out and just immediately go in here. So you're hardly gonna see the cable, but they put another slot down here for like your GPU cable, and then another slot over there for like your fan cables, because your bottom fans are gonna sit right here. The cable will probably be positioned right here, or for all 3 fans, and then you can just route them through there. And you know me, I love cable management, so it looks like it'll be really easy in this case. So let's go ahead and take a look at the back. So the first thing you probably noticed I did was I removed this little swinging out bracket. So it sits right here with 2 screws, and then you can swing it out and pop it up, and it can fit 2 3.5-inch drives and 4 2.5-inch drives at the same time, or up to 6 2.5-inch drives. So you have a ton of room for SATA storage. So we'll leave that over here. And then here is the back. And you've got a ton of room for cable management. Should be really easy in this case. And here's all of our connectors for the front. We've got USB-C. We've got our front panel connector. This is the 2-pin LED switch for this button up here that I was talking about earlier. And we've also got our USB-A. And they've got them already tied down right here. So that looks really nice. You can fit power supplies up to 220 millimeters in length and ATX in size. And obviously it's going to sit vertical. And then on that note, I think that's about it. I don't think I missed anything, but a very versatile case, and it should be really fun to build in. Very nice. It looks like we've got some really cool parts going into this PC build. Yeah? We do. A lot of awesome companies wanted to get in on this project with APNX. Firstly, Kingston sent out a 2 terabyte NVMe for storage, and it is their Kingston Fury. And they also sent out 32 gigabytes of 6,000 megatransfers per second DDR5 RAM. This is RGB, so this should look great. We've got a Ryzen 7800X3D going in. We've got an ASUS ROG Strix X870E-E. We've got my favorite RGB fans. These are the Lian TL wireless, which are fantastic for cable management. And we have some regular blade versions. And then we also have, not that one. There we go. We also have some reverse blade versions for that really clean uniform look. So that's gonna look awesome. TRYX just sent out their new Panorama SE 360 millimeter AIO, which has this insane AMOLED display. So this should look awesome in the build. We've got a Phanteks Revolt 1000 watt power supply. And I love these power supplies because they come with a separate box, which has custom braided cables, which are much easier, so I don't have to deal with extensions. And I love working with Phanteks. They make some great stuff. And then lastly, Palit sent out their brand new 5070. And this is the Gaming Pro OC. So I'm really excited to see how this performs. And thank you to all the companies that decided to pitch in for this really cool build. All right, that's enough yapping. Let's get to the build. I gotta say, this build looks absolutely insane. Thanks, dude. I agree. Really happy with how this build turned out. And normally I don't go for rainbow RGB like this, but I think with everything together, I actually really like how it looks. So let's do a once over of the exterior, then we'll start taking off some panels and talking about the build and the inside. So the first thing that definitely stands out with this build, other than all of the RGB RAM, has got to be this TRYX Panorama AIO. It is so crisp and clean looking. It's probably not going to come across that nice on camera, but in person, it looks absolutely insane. And one cool thing you can do with this AIO is you could actually take it off and then you can rotate it so you have a completely different look. So that's really cool. So I think with some kind of waterfall effect, I think that would be really sweet. Let's go ahead and position it how it was. All of the Lian fans look great. Some of my favorite to work with for how they look and how they all connect together. Just really minimal and easy. And I love how with these fans, you can see them behind all of the wood slats. That looks really cool. Just a very classy looking case. Looks great with my wood setup. Got the Kingston Fury RAM, got the ASUS motherboard. And originally, I was gonna mount this 5070 horizontally, but Palit actually recommended mounting it vertically. And I think with the size of it and how it fits in here, I think that was the best choice. It matches the build perfectly. And I do love the minimal RGB that it has on it. Just that one little section that says Gaming Pro. And in true Dancam fashion, you know, I had to go crazy with the cable management. This is my favorite part of PC builds, and this one came out looking fantastic. This PSU made it really easy too, because I didn't have to deal with any extensions. Comes with the braided cables. And I think the PSU is fitting too with this silver grating. I'm always looking for opportunities to make the cable management better. And I think with this one, I have peaked. Overall, really happy with how this build turned out. So how are thermals? So I ran an OCCT benchmark for both the CPU and the GPU, which is the main software I use for benchmarking. And under a 30-minute test for the CPU, the max temperature I saw was 76 degrees Celsius, which is fantastic for a 7800 X3D. Then the GPU, I was really surprised with. The max temperature I saw was 64 degrees Celsius, while in most games, it was in the high 50s. So super cool running with those 3 fans on it. Then in game for the 7800 X3D, it was around the mid 60s. So very cool running system. Really happy with the thermals for this one. After all, we do have a ton of fans in here. And then for those interested in the airflow, the bottom are reverse blade and they are intake. The side are reverse blade and they are intake. The radiator mounted fans are exhaust, they're regular blade. Then the rear is regular blade and it is also exhaust. Okay, so what do you think about this case and the overall build process? So overall, I really like this case. I think it's really clean, looks really elegant. There's a ton of room in the case to build in, ton of room for cable management. All of the glass is removable, which just makes the build process so easy. And I actually didn't run into any hiccups during the build. It was actually really smooth. Normally there's always one thing you get kind of caught up on, but this one was super easy. And looking at the back, cable management was also very easy, and I have a ton of extra room. And then if I didn't want to route the cables like this, you could just jam them down here and call it a day. You can see that I did leave off this bracket, mainly because I didn't want to hide all of the work I put into cable management. But if we wanted to, I could probably do this one-handed. Let's see if I can get this on here. Maybe I won't be able to do it one-handed. There we go. I can throw that on there, and then now it looks even cleaner. So if I was installing SATA drives, it'd be super simple. Then I can just route those to the motherboard and then to the PSU for power. So really like this case. If you're in the market for a design like this, I definitely would recommend. I love all of the color options too. I love how they offer the wood slat panel on the side. Looks really clean, really classy. So let's go ahead and end this with some gameplay on this bad boy.